Recently, I got my hands on my new Lab putter, and it's fair to say I've quite enjoyed it so far, but is the Lab Mez 1 the wrong Lab putter for me? Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson and welcome back to this YouTube channel. Today we're talking about Lab putters because they seem to be taking over the world when it comes to putting, and I've got my hands recently on the new Lab Oz 1i. Now this thing looks absolutely incredible, and I must admit one of the big eye-catching features for me is just how beautiful this putter really is and how good the head cover is. Look at that. That's a gorgeous head cover, isn't it? So we'll put that on the floor because that's not mine, but I think the alignment aids on this look second to none. They look absolutely fantastic, and it does look more like a standard mallet putter. If you put them down on the floor, you'll see two very similar ideologies with the Mez 1 and the Oz 1i, both of these zero torque putters. Is this the wrong one for me? Should I potentially move into an Oz 1i like that man? Chris, how are you?
Very good, yourself?
I'm very good. So that's your putter, and we've done online fittings with Lab and we've looked at different putters, and I initially liked the look of the Link 1 putter, so the more kind of answer looking style. And we know that the Lab fans out there, the Lab rats, there's lots of different Labs out there.
Is that what they refer
No, that's what they refer to themselves as, honestly. So there's Facebook groups and all sorts. But let's hit a couple of putts and let's see just what the big differences are between the Mez 1 and the Oz 1i, because the initial Lab DF3 that we saw, it just didn't suit my eye at all. It was a little bit big, a little bit cumbersome, lots going on, wasn't there? But now zero torque putters are a huge thing, both on tour and in pro shops around the world. I must say that I feel like I've putted almost my best ever since putting this in the bag. I do like the look of it still. I think it looks really, really nice. I do think the green and white combination looks fantastic, and that's part of the charm with Lab. You can start to really make it your own. You can make it different colors. You can make it obviously different lengths and lies, and we have the accurate upgraded shaft in here together with that off-center grip. This is a big thing for me as to why Lab are doing absolute madnesses in the putting world. But if you look at your Oz 1i, Chris, that's also got that off-center grip, and it's also got the accurate shaft just in black.
It has, yes.
Key difference with Chris's though, we'll talk about that in just a second, but I really do feel like it's simplified putting for me with this putter. You can see that's a gorgeous roll on this putt, and I don't necessarily feel like I'm having to manipulate the putting stroke too much. I feel like as soon as I put that ball down, I can get that ball rolling end over end, and as you've seen on screen, hole lots and lots of putts with this club. It feels fantastically soft. I do like the insert in this, but now if we actually look at Chris's putter and we look at this Oz 1i, that's a totally different game changer, isn't it?
Yep, so total different insert on there, so that's going to give you a firmer feel. One thing that I was surprised at was how soft my Mez putter did feel. Again, it came off soft, and one thing, I putted well with it. I've enjoyed the Mez 1, but if anything, tendency was to be short, maybe a little bit too soft.
I certainly feel like with this, it looks more like a standard putter. Like it reminds me almost of a Red X, that kind of style. Obviously the shaft is back and the alignment aids on here are fantastic, but realistically now, could this be the putter? Oh, how's that not gone in? Because you can get a soft insert and a firm insert in this, and it's one of the first times we've seen that in a putter where you can basically choose what insert you want. Why would you go for a firm insert instead of a soft insert?
So again, it depends on how you like to see the ball come off. If you're short on average, you might then want to go for something a little bit firmer, gets it a little bit more ball speed. Again, if you're playing on slower greens, you might have a firmer insert because again, it'll come off faster from a shorter stroke. So we don't need to make as big a stroke, because we know the bigger the stroke, the more potential to go wrong.
And interesting here with the putts I've just hit, so as soon as I've got the firmer insert in the Oz 1i, we've actually missed it high side.
Yeah,
which is a much better way to
straight away. It had a chance of going in,
which the other one potentially didn't. Look at that roll. That is an absolutely delightful roll, and we've got one.
Look at that.
I think, and so Lab do a lot of online fitting. If you're here in the UK, you can get fitted at Scottsdale Golf, or if you're over in America, you can go and test them out at like Dick's Sporting Goods, or is it PGA Tour Superstore, I think? It's PGA Tour Superstore, isn't it? But realistically, I think the online fitting's fantastic. Like I really do think that we've spoke to the guys at Lab and we said, oh, I'm sure online fitting is okay, but but you can't beat an in-person fitting. Whereas the guys at Lab are like, actually, the online fitting works really, really well. Like 9 times out of 10, it does exactly what people want them to do. So
Yeah,
I think personally, the idea of having lots of different colour schemes and lots of different potential options is a really good way of getting fit for a putter and a really good way of choosing what putter would work for you. Let's have a little bit more of an in-depth look at these two putters. Let's look at some shorter putts as well, and let's see potentially if this is the right putter for me, if that's the right putter for me, or if any of these putters could be the right putter for you. So looking at these shorter putts, Chris, you used a Mez one for a couple of months and quite enjoyed it. A very similar spec to mine actually, but now you've moved into the Oz one and you've held some good putts with this so far. What are the big differences you've seen from kind of this kind of distance? Because let's be fair, from 20 feet where I just was, you're not expecting to hold that many. Tour make percentage would be what from 20 feet?
you'd be looking at 1 in 4 on average there.
So I've not done bad there with 1 in 6.
No.
Realistically, when you look at this distance, this is where you're probably building your score, this is where you're saving your pars, and this is where hopefully you're holding those birdie putts. So what are the big differences you've seen, Chris, moving into that Oz one from the Mez one?
Again, it's just a pace off the face. I feel like, again, I'm getting that a little bit better. So I'm getting these ones to the hole more. Sometimes I'd leave them a little bit short with the Mez. Again, I've gone similar with it though. So it's the same length, same lie angle. That was the fitting. And again, I've gone for the heavier head, which is an option. But with the Oz, you can get a lot more alignment aid options on the top.
I do think the alignment aid options look absolutely fantastic as well, because I'll put a close-up on screen now of Chris's putter, and you can see it has those 3 lines on, so it's got your centre line, and then it depends on how you like to line the ball up, how you like to actually draw on the ball, but potentially you could have those 3 lines on, and then we have that back set white line, which I think looks fantastic for, it sounds daft, but helping you square the putter face up. Because we have that forward set shaft, you don't see the whole of that kind of leading edge, so having that white line, I think looks absolutely fantastic for that kind of putt.
Yeah, and that's it. So you can get, I believe, more than 20 options for obviously the front of the putter, and you can get around about 21 different options for the back. So there's obviously a lot of different things you can go for. And you might think that just seems a lot, that might be overcomplicating it, but obviously different alignment aids work differently for different people. And that's, if we can get the right alignment aid to start the ball online, we should hold more putts.
And this is the thing, people may think that that sounds excessive, but for me, I actually think it sounds really like a nice refreshment, because in the days of when Scotty Cameron was dominating tall putters, when Odyssey were dominating, which they still do a little bit, but we're starting to see more and more zero torque or low torque putters now on tour and again around pro shops and things like that. So the fact you can have lots of different options is certainly something which you can make it your own, you can make it your own colour, you can have your own shaft in there, and you can really start to enjoy and embrace having these different clubs in the bag. Because I think a big talking point with these is looking at potentially what the differences are. And one of the huge factors I've really enjoyed about my Mez 1 is that colour scheme, and everyone goes, oh wow, what's that? That looks fantastic. And I don't think you'd have that if you just got the black-headed one with a black shaft. I think I love how this looks, and I love how also I can move into something like that Oz 1i that looks very, very similar. I'm going to hit a couple of short putts and just see how that feels, because I think if I were going to say I was struggling with anything with these, it might be that distance on the short ones. So I don't believe you can get the firmer finish in the Mez 1, can you? I believe that's just a standard finish.
No, I don't think so, no.
And even if potentially you put on what might be classed as kind of slower greens, the firm finish might help you a little bit more. And I do feel like from here, this is where you can really start building those scores, building that confidence, and really get that ball rolling end over end. Now, I prefer the feel of the Mez 1, I prefer that softer feel, but if this worked for me, I'd have no problems whatsoever in changing over to something like this and making sure that I know I'm using the correct putter for me. We're about 6 feet away here, so you'd be hoping to hold probably 50, 60, maybe 70% of these. Tour make percentages aren't as high as what you think, but I certainly feel like I've rammed that through there. I certainly feel like it's taking away a lot of the skill element that I would need with a blade putter. I'm thinking about, right, I've got my line, and all I'm thinking about now is pace. And if I get that pace right, you can see we're dropping those in time after time. Guys, get in the comments below, which lab putter would you use? Would you use a lab putter at all, or would you potentially go and try and find, oh, look at that, snuck in. Would you go and try and find a different low torque or zero torque putter? For me, I'm going to do some more testing and see potentially which could be the best one for me and the best one for you. Guys, if you've enjoyed that, smash that subscribe button below, and I'll see you all at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.